All right, guys. Dubes has left me today to host. First day back, still a little bit rusty, so bear with me. But welcome to HoilBoys episode 48.
Come on, hi.
Hi. Can you join us? Say hi.
Hoil.
But we have a special episode today. Really looking forward to this one. We're joined here by a couple of new faces. I don't know if I'm a new. I don't think I'm a new face, but we've got another new face here. We'll start introducing ourselves on my right. I'm looking at you.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy FL.
Shit. Your boy who?
FL, bro.
FL.
That's what they call me outside, bro.
Oh, rebrand.
Nah, rules. Honestly,
Frank.
I promise you, they call me FL, bro.
FL.
Boy, Frank loaded.
Welcome back, man. Welcome back.
Welcome back. I've been here, bro.
Okay.
What does FL stand for?
See this move. FL, you know what's my name.
I say I want to say,
What was that to say?
No edits. It's too early.
Wale.
For
Back.
Who else we got in the building?
You got Wale, come on.
Wale. Yeah, I've missed you,
Yeah.
I was watching the pod and they were talking about your water and you've still got it here. Very consistent.
Is it the same one?
Yeah. Well,
It's the same one.
Is it fresh?
Exact same.
Exact
Same.
I can't put it past you.
Same water.
6 weeks, you've been drinking the same water.
Same one, bro.
obviously, it's your host, Harold.
Hegger.
Heck
I'm
and
back.
Haas and
I'm-
Ice.
Yo, you see when I went skiing there? And this guy added highest. I was done, man. I was crying. But yeah, I'm
never
back.
been skiing before. How was that?
Yo, sick. Let's go next year.
Bro, God should give me the funds for it, bro.
Oh, stop doing that, bro. You got
Where
you
did
got the
go
money.
skiing? Switzerland or
Nah, Bulgaria.
okay.
Yeah, so that was pretty dope. This guy, he's got the money, but he doesn't like life experiences. I'm trying to
He's
get him
Ibo.
out.
He doesn't want to
Fair
spend money.
enough. Okay, understood.
I do like life experiences.
No, you don't.
I just don't think certain life experiences are worth the cost.
Such as what?
Skiing.
you not even done it. I'll show you this guy.
But that's just my reality. I don't think
Listen.
I want to ski that bad.
I'll wait. I'll give it
I love
another
to
2-3
ski.
years.
Huh?
I love this.
I would love to ski
Yeah.
at a price that I thought made sense for me.
How do you know? You don't know how much I paid.
How much you pay?
You don't know how much I paid.
Sometimes you just got a date,
Thank you. We don't have all.
Life is for living, bro.
It's
Yeah.
not that expensive as well. It's not,
How much is it?
usually, but for a weekend, like £300-400, isn't it?
That's expensive.
Which one is?
Can't lie.
What
I-
scheme is
I-
that
I-
one?
Is it not? I've never gone to.
I don't know.
What
I
scheme
think
is that one,
Maybe
bro?
I was like
I think
5 years ago
altogether,
looking at
yeah,
prices.
Like my fit, everything. I probably paid up to two.
Can you imagine?
What?
Just so you can go and post picture on
Hold
Instagram.
on. Wait.
But
For how long?
for
My fit.
4 days.
4 days.
£2,000.
Yeah, but that's flight, accommodation, drip.
But it's
all
a
of
life
that.
experience, though.
Essentially, that's $5 a day.
Life experience.
What?
man.
That's $5 a
Yeah,
day.
it's worth it. I enjoyed it though.
No,
It's like,
I
if you-
still
if you
talk
wanna
about it
go-
today-
If you
till
want to
today.
go safari, that shit's expensive.
I'm doing that. I'm gonna
you
do
know what
that.
I mean? It's a life experience.
to be fair,
That's what I'm trying to do.
you know,
You know, South Africa.
when I went to Dubai, you know, I swam in the aquarium, innit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
How much was that?
It was. I can't remember. It was
You
like
somewhere?
in the aquarium. You know, in the Dubai Mall,
Or
in
the
the middle,
dolphin in it?
in the middle of the,
Yeah, the
thingy.
dolphin.
No, that would. I'll kick you out.
Same with the fishes.
No, the other one, man. You know, in the Dubai Mall, right bang in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've
they've
got
got
like
like
the
this shark tank in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pay to swim in it.
Are you swimming?
Wait,
Yeah,
legit?
yeah.
How much was it?
It was in was it in Dirham? I don't know the Dirham. I just hey, you see where you go on there? Yeah? Let me blame Dirham anyhow. I don't even remember. I don't remember. It was like I can't remember. It was like
But then see, you
but-
still talk about it till today.
only because I'm talking about experiences.
Nah, but that's an
In my
experience.
day-to-day life, you won't see me talking about me doing that. Nah, but it's only because I'm talking about that. But anyway,
Nah, but we got a special guest. I want to do this intro properly. That's why I've got my phone out, right? Because I don't want to be saying things that I shouldn't be saying. But we've got a mental health and leadership expert. So Ngozi is the C. Is that the right way to say it?
Ngozi.
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 Ngozi
And
Yeah,
Ngozi.
Ngozi.
is the
Yeah.
CEO and founder of Frontline Therapist,
Come on.
an affordable and accessible, culturally sensitive online counseling service for Black and Asian minority ethnic individuals and all individuals from disadvantaged backgrounds nationwide.
Come on.
come on.
So we've actually got an expert. I'll let you go a bit deeper into it. But at the start of every episode, we actually ask about mental health. So I actually want to start with you. So right now, welcome to the show. What's your mental health out of 10?
Today it's a 7.
That's pretty
That's
good.
good, you know.
That's good. Yeah.
Very
that's
high
good.
here.
Oh,
Yeah,
still.
seven works.
Yeah.
How come? Why is that?
Just grateful, thankful to God of life. That's That's it, really. But if you ask me another day, it might have been a bit lower.
What's low? What's the? I don't want to say what's the lowest you've been, but what's low for you?
Well, we might get into that, but I spent a long time being quite depressed.
Oh wow.
So, but I was a high function depressed person.
What's that? What does that mean?
It means that like a high function person that's alcohol, it just means that like I'm not the typical person that's depressed, that's in the room in dark, not bathing. Like I'm doing everything, and even in my depressed, all of the achievements that we talk about that I've done, I did it while I was depressed. So I just get on with life, but internally I'm not happy. But externally I am, because I'm the extroverted life of the party. But internally I'm not happy. So that's what it means by high functioning. I just functioned well. So when you see someone that's an alcoholic that, is still a CEO of their business, but they drink.
They're still making it.
Where you got people that they're drinking, or someone that's depressed, but it's really obvious. You can see that have you bathed in a few days, or they're withdrawn, they're not talking to people.
Yeah.
So that's what I meant. So, and so even though I've kind of overcome that overall, I go through moments where you kind of feel like, you feel like that cloud coming back. If you just feel triggered by something, or you hear something bad, you might feel like, it takes an effort to consciously work on your mental well-being. Sometimes it's just long. Sometimes I'm tired. Sometimes I just want to let me just be in bed, watch Netflix and cry.
Yeah. What about you, Frank? What's your mental health on today? Did you have a good weekend?
That way, let me just unpack something. That high functioning thing, being high functional
depression.
Yeah, it's like something I can resonate with. To be fair, I feel like there's a lot. Harold's my mate outside of this, and there'll be a lot of times where I can do.
He emphasized Harold. He said Harold is
your
my
enemy,
mate.
but you don't know his day to day.
Yeah, you don't know my day to day. I speak to H more. That's why I said it. Do you know what I mean? So there's a lot of times where I could be thinking a lot of things or feeling some type of way, but I'll bury it and I'll just focus on like whatever it is I need to do in the day. Do you know what I mean? But like you rightfully said, on the outside, I feel like a lot of people might look at me and think, yeah, this boy he's happy or whatnot. But on the inside, it could be a different conversation. But my mental right now, I don't know, to be fair. What would I say my mental is? I'm sad, but I'm happy.
Why though?
My brethren lost his son.
Man, that's...
and for a lot of people, like, it's very hard to explain that situation. One, because I think obviously you remember them times when they were coming in it, when she was pregnant. Yeah. I spent a lot of time with them when they were pregnant. So I remember that journey. And obviously I'm a father myself. So just to hear that a young life has been lost, you don't think of these things happening, you know what I'm trying to say? It's not something that you think, this has, like, we pray and we speak about our children burying us or squaring us old to our children and seeing shit like that. So just for that to happen, you just know that that's something not to be happy about. Outside of that, I'm grateful, like you said, for life. My son's growing every day, so I'm happy about it. He's 5. Yeah, so I'm happy about that. But like I said, that balances of happy and sad is what I'm trying to figure out. I don't really know. So I'll probably say about 5.5, 6, maybe. So that's my mental, 5 or 5, 6, maybe. Yeah. What do you say?
I said swear.
What's yours, Wale?
Drink your water.
Sad, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, if I cry today,
you know something.
No one say nothing to me.
Some things you can't even try and imagine how someone feels.
Yeah, bro.
You can't, like, you just can't. What about you, Wale?
Damn. My mental, I feel like it's higher than what it should be right now. because I think I just like to look at the positive things.
Yeah, I hear that stuff.
But when you really deep it, there's a lot of shit going on, brother. I'll be real, fam. And I don't know. Is right now my mental's. I say my mental's a 7, but I feel deep down. Probably
you're getting on with it,
probably like a 4.5.
Yeah,
deep down in it, but I don't know, man. Do you know what I say to myself sometimes to to lift myself, I'd just say like, there's people in worse situations than me. You know what I mean? I gotta be grateful for what I have. You know what I mean? I can pay for things. I have a roof over my head. I got my own spot. I can buy food. You know what I mean? Some people can't even do that. So there's people that have bigger problems than me. So that kind of eases it. But still, I still have the problems in it. So yeah, man, I won't have no problems soon in Jesus' name anyway.
Amen.
Yeah, man.
Amen.
So yeah, so let's just say a 7. You know what I mean? Man's alive. Man's here. HoilBoys, you get me?
Hey, can I just say something? Yeah, I did not plan on coming on this pod today. What a fucking topic. Reals, bro.
Yeah, nah, I feel you.
Bro, dude, I was chilling, bro. Sometimes that's when I speak about God, yeah, I think it's so weird, bro. Because sometimes at least you just said, I'm going out. I'm just going to go link the man in. How many times have I been chilling and you lot are here? I don't come, bro.
Yeah.
So why today?
You're saying it's God, innit?
Bro,
Yeah.
anyway, let me talk.
Nah, you're meant to be here. You're meant to be
Carry
here.
on, bro.
Yeah, I'd say mine is
By the way, sorry, if you see me smiling a lot, yeah, it's I'm not smiling, I'm not laughing at anyone.
Yeah.
I just smile in it, you get me?
Yeah.
So don't think I'm not taking anyone's thing serious.
No, but even then, we still have to get our laughs in, you know, even when we're talking about, no matter what we're talking about. I say mine is a 6.57. Do you know what it is as well?
Live in Miami.
Yeah, but that's what
back from.
No, but that's what I'm saying, yeah.
You live in Miami.
I'm
Tongue every day. Why would you be happy?
Exactly.
I've gone from getting dark at like 9-10 p.m. hot weather, like I could wake up and be like, I'm going to the beach. This weekend I'll spend it at the beach, bro. When I come here, I've been here for like 5 days now, right? And bro, I'm cold.
Cold.
It's cold.
It's cold.
Yeah?
It's cold.
When you got
Yo,
Heathrow Airport.
you know,
so
I
cold right
came
now.
back with a jumper in it. Are you okay?
Are you alright?
How?
I came back with a jumper. And I walked it up and I said, this ain't enough. So, do you know what? That's what I even wanted to touch on. Like, the weather has affected me more than I'd like to admit. Like, straight away, 3-4 p.m. dark. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
So I'm having to adjust to it being okay again and just getting on with it. Bro, it's mad.
About the weather,
Bro,
on
7-8 p.m. I can go for a walk. It's hot.
Yeah.
Like, you're seeing palm trees, you're chilling.
It's hard
People
to be
are
happy
saying
in
hi
darkness,
to you.
you know?
It's not, it's
There's actually a thing called SAD. You know it.
What is it?
SAD.
Nah,
So literally, people feel quite low and depressed
Mm-hmm.
during the winter periods.
Is it?
Yeah, so there's actually
it's
diagnosis.
dark, like.
Yeah, it's people, and so if you already have, or whether you do have or not have, people typically describe their mood as quite low during winter.
Oh wow.
That's why even if it's not like that deep, leaving your house just feels like an effort.
Bro, waking up in the morning, those that wake up at like 6, 5 and leave at 6 and you're going out in the dark, you're coming back in the dark.
Yeah.
Bro, that's depressing, bro.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
You're not even seeing light.
Yeah, it's
you must
crazy.
feel like you're in prison or something.
Nah, this
darkness.
This London life, man.
But that's why even during the summer, look at how excited people are for no reason. You're just happy. Yeah, I mean,
Honestly, everyone's more friendlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
everyone's like, "Hey,
100%.
how are you?" But in the winter, like you look at the
Everyone
same
just-
neighbor.
Let me just
to talk.
It's true, though.
You're conserving the heat.
honestly.
Right.
It takes energy. Energy you need to keep warm.
Yeah. But Ngozi, you're obviously an expert in this topic within our community. So can you just go into a bit more detail, kind of what you do, what's your day-to-day like? And then we can kind of,
Okay, go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my name is Ngozi, that's been said. And my background, I guess, in terms of qualifications, I'm a mental health social worker, I'm a psychotherapist, and a business consultant. So primarily I work everything mental health, really, particularly in the Black community, Black and Asian community. So I provide therapy to racialized groups myself, but then I've got a service that provides, affordable and accessible mental health counseling to Black and Asian and mixed heritage individuals. And I also work with a lot of corporations when it comes to their well-being and also Black representation across all parts of their companies and how they can retain their Black staff. So I'm very passionate about mental health in the Black community, especially because I also section a lot of people.
Oh, wow.
So
When you say section, what does that mean?
so I put a lot
Section,
of
bro.
people
Put them in
in
home, blood.
Yeah,
psychiatric
mental
hospitals. So I detain people against their will.
Damn.
and put them in hospitals.
Like anyone, you could be like, you.
I have the power. If you vex me today,
Get up. Get up. Get up.
you're coming with me.
Back up. Get up.
Oh yeah, come. Oh no. I work in certain local authorities, so whatever local authority that I am kind of what they call warranted, so what you'd maybe say licensed to work in. But I did work in a local area like around here, and obviously in the London boroughs, you're going to see a lot of us.
Yeah.
So you're going to see a lot of man them, a lot of our aunties, you know, and I find that, you know, absolutely horrendous.
Yeah, that must be difficult because, sorry to interrupt, but I remember I think the first time I had a conversation with my mom about, like, I don't feel right. Like, so there's something wrong where I can't pinpoint and be like, this is what's wrong with me, but I just don't feel right, kind of thing. It took her a second to kind of process and understand that, okay, cool, what's happening? Because I guess, especially with African families, they're so used to getting on with it. They're built different. Like, came to this country, they work 15-hour shifts, just got on with it. And you've got your 9 to 5 and then coming home and you can chill and all that. Whenever you have any issues, they're like, if I had your life, I'll be like enjoying it. So it must be quite difficult because you kind of have to explain to them that this is kind of normal and people go through this before going through the process with them.
Yeah, the thing is, when somebody gets to the point where they're being sectioned, they're usually at a crisis.
Is our boy okay? I'm worried about him.
he needs some heat in his, in his body. They're usually at a crisis. Because I think the difficult thing is, imagine like right now we're having a conversation where we're all essentially in reality. I don't know about FL. We're all in reality. But imagine one of your friends that maybe you spoke to him yesterday and we're talking, you're just busting joke, and the next minute he's sitting there going, I don't want to make light of it, but the aliens, and he's being very serious. It's distressing. Yeah. And a lot of the boys that, and I'm talking about boys because your boys here, a lot of the guys, they're smart, they're in university, but they break down. Maybe they're burning too much weed. It's messed them up. Just life, whatever it is. And it's scary. It's scary seeing a young black brother. And I guess I'll say it to people, I don't know if it's a black thing, and I think it is. When I see another black person, I feel like a kindred.
Yeah.
There is, like, I'm not saying that I don't feel it when I section any other race, but there is something when I section, even specifically on Nigerian. Because it just feels like you could be at a party, you can know my mum.
Yeah.
You know, you can be a relative, you can be a family member. So when I'm sectioning an auntie and they've got an accent and they're speaking like my mum, like, why are you doing this to me? The one time I went into a person's house and she was making jollof rice. I wanted to cry. And all she kept saying is, do you want jollof rice? Do you want jollof rice? And I said, Auntie, please, call your son to pack up the rice because it's gonna spoil. And I said, let her finish the rice. And that was just so painful because I can just imagine if my mum, someone come in, would they think like, look, the rice, and because obviously I'm from that same cultural background, I knew how important it was for her. Make sure that the rice is done. And then when you see like another young black brother and he's just talking and he's expressing himself like yeah, and then you have like maybe another practitioner going, waving hands aggressively.
But they're just being themselves.
They're just being themselves. They're just expressing themselves. And then you kind of want to tell the guy to just calm down because he's like, yeah, man, stop. Like, he's just saying things in a way, and they're not getting it. I'm like, oh, but do you remember Little Miss Jocelyn? Do you remember when she's got to she did a skit of breaking down the slang, right? So I'm like, okay, so what he's trying to say basically is, why are you people here? And then you want to sometimes I want to get into the room and say, look, please go into hospital, listen to what they're saying, accept that there's something wrong. Because what they'll do is, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. And it's like, we're not saying you're mad. You're going through something. Right now, you're not in reality. Something has occurred and happened. Accept that. Because when they don't accept it, we call it lack of insight. What happens? I don't know if you've got any friends that you see them 1 minute, the next 6 months they disappeared. They're not going to prison. They're usually going into hospital.
So do people
swear?
If you've got a friend that's not going abroad, he disappears every 6 months.
Boy.
So you be going to hospital, yeah?
So what happened?
Most people will tell you they're gone prison. I came out of pen, I came out of pen. You don't want to say.
They go to the hospital. What happens in the hospital?
Essentially, they get given medication. Usually, they're trying to get treated for their mental health. So if they're put on a Section 2, it can last up to 28 days. If they go into a Section 3, it can last up to 6 months, depending on how their illness responds to the treatment.
And
what
they
happens?
Have to stay there.
They have to, yes, unless they are. So when I put somebody, so I'm basically a judge.
Yeah.
When I put section, you cannot come off your section. If you run away, the police will bring you back. As a legal, it's basically one of the most archaic kind of illegal thing under the Human Rights Act. You can't detain, under Article 5 of the Human Rights Act, you can't detain anybody against the liberty without a law, and I am the law. I put it down. But you can either appeal your section, so a like tribunal can let you off, or your doctor, your responsible clinician can let you off, but you can't. Or your what we call this nearest relative, your relative can potentially request your discharge. But essentially, you cannot. And if you try to, once when you get in hospital, they lock the doors. But if you do try to run away, it happens, you abscond, you'll be brought back by the police.
And what
There'll be a warrant out for you to.
Okay, but there will be no criminal charges.
Sorry?
Charges.
Oh, no, not police charges. No, not like that. No.
So
Just bring you back in it.
Just keep running it.
It'll be difficult because you're locked in, technically.
Oh, okay.
But if
So
you.
if someone runs away.
But if they
there's more
could, somebody
security.
can just escape.
If you are let out, so you get like times to go and
Like
let
prison-
Oh, yes,
let
okay,
out,
Like prison
right?
break.
And then
Yeah.
if you're with the nurse and somehow you dust out and run,
Yeah.
then you'll get brought back.
But then that privilege will be gone. You won't be allowed
Yeah,
to do that again.
basically,
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
And then
So
you'll be inside
You know the
2-4.
you know the medicine that they give you, yeah. So
Antipsychotics.
what is it? What does it do? It just calms you down, or what?
It's meant to treat. So I guess depending on the diagnosis, let's talk about psychosis. So psychosis is like when you're outside, you're not in tune with reality. So that can include delusions, hallucinations.
Yeah.
And then obviously that's like what you call the positive symptoms. The negative symptoms is like maybe not bathing, self-neglect. If any of you ever seen somebody who is just what we call very apathetic, like they're just not. Like imagine you know a friend that's really expressive.
Yeah.
When they're really unwell, they might just be kind of staring into space.
Yeah.
Not really expressive with their emotions,
Mm.
quite like,
So
So
is
meant to
taking
deal-
tablets the safest way though? To
Does
heal
it
that?
cure?
'Cause
Does it cure the? I don't want to call it a problem, but does it cure the?
I mean, you can get addicted to it, and then you can just feel like
I wanna use-
every time I feel a certain type of way, I need to take these tablets so I don't feel that type of way.
No, because you
can end up being dependent on that, no?
well, it's like anything. Like if you've got diabetic medication, you're going to take it, isn't it? You don't just stop when you feel better, when you're not have low sugar. You take it as a treatment, so it's a consistent
constantly,
treatment.
Mm.
But sorry to interrupt. Yeah. Has there been like success stories of people going in there for 6 months and coming back okay?
Yeah, definitely.
And do people actually choose to like? So say you don't section me, can I wake up one day and be like, I want to go into
Potentially.
and then you'd have to.
You would call that an informal admission. So you voluntarily admit yourself.
Okay, so that happens as well.
That happens. Yeah, people do that. Yeah, but the criteria will still be met because it's also a very difficult environment to be in, because so you could be, for example, depressed and but really at risk of harming yourself, and somebody else could be having a really psychotic break, and you're just really sad, and you've got other kind of symptoms. Then you're hearing somebody scream at the top of the lungs. Like it can be very not conducive to you getting better.
Yeah.
So to answer your question about the treatment, it's not meant to just be medication that you get. You're meant to get other types of treatment. So just the social
Therapy?
treatment.
Oh.
The question really is, do Black people, when they get into this, do they get offered the treatment, right? Now, sometimes they get offered, do they want the treatment? But a lot of times research suggests that we're not even referred the treatment.
Why though?
Yeah, I was on Black Plus, but why did you say
Black, innit?
Well, why did you say Black people?
Yeah,
only
why?
want therapy?
'Cause especially if I've come in or I've been sectioned, why do you look at me and go, actually, nah,
Because
you
we're black, they don't treat us fair, fam.
is that pretty much it? Because obviously there's so
The
many
layperson can say yes. There's obviously multiplicity of factors that contribute to that. But sometimes medicinal racism, unconscious bias.
Yeah.
Sometimes
A lot of it is just by
Yeah. it is,
sometimes it is very much. How can I put it? I said this the other day, right? I'm black. I can get your facial expressions, but maybe somebody else won't understand. So you might. How can I put it? A lot of people don't ask for therapy, but it's offered to them. Like you look really sad, right? And we talked about it, like functional depressed. Like I might be smiling, you might be smiling. I'm sad,
Yeah.
right? But they can't. And this is not an excuse, but they can't
They can't see
read.
it.
They can't
Yeah.
read it.
Yeah, they
I was saying
can't.
the other day that for like Black women when they're pregnant, right, and they're having children, 1 in 5 die of childbirth. And when we're saying we're in pain, sometimes it's just like you're not being seen. It's like, do I have to cry? What do I have to do to tell you I'm in pain? Where maybe a white person, they'll be like, oh, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. But when I say I'm not okay, it's like, no, I've got to kind of like, I'm not okay. I've got to amp.
This
put
whole
the
thing about black women are strong nonsense, and just because of that, they unconsciously think, oh yeah, they're strong. They're stronger than their white counterparts. So let them go through it. But that, you shouldn't be having that.
Are midwives now. You know?
Yeah, you shouldn't have to
honestly
go through that. You know. Well,
and I think the whole black angry man is a very really a thing that really impacts a lot of black boys in
the whole
in hospital. The
black men
angry,
are angry.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of black men are more likely to be restrained, and being restrained is horrible.
Yeah.
Because it's basically when you see police, they do it.
Yeah.
Because I had that in hospital, like 10
So
nurses
even if you're
on
expressing yourself with your hands like normal,
that can become interpreted as very aggressive.
Yeah.
And the thing is, let me be very honest. Sometimes there is aggression. Sometimes reality is. I remember talking to he was Somalian young boy, 17, and he was being very aggressive. And then there were so many security around me, so many people. I had no opportunity to speak to him one-on-one. Because if it was me and him, I would have said, sit your butt down.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Do you think this is going to get you the help?
Yeah.
But there was not that opportunity. If I stepped forward, they're all going to come. So there was no opportunity. So he's getting angry and vexed, banging the wall. So he's actually being aggressive.
Yeah.
But he just needs a stern talking to. Because right now, everyone's pacifying him, which I get because they don't want him. He's big, he was tall. So they know if he starts acting up, it's going to take a lot of people to try and restrain him. So you've got that situation as well. People, I think, if they're really honest with you, if they're really honest, they don't want to be truthful, but they might be scared of a lot of black boys.
Yeah, I think so.
And because of the level of distrust that you already have. So when you're in the system, you're not happy. You're not happy that you're being sectioned. So when you're talking to the doctor, you're not going, okay, doctor, you're like, what?
Yeah.
So that already is giving them this sense. So they're not going to offer therapy. They're like, medication, your mum's
Straight
coming
to
out.
the top.
Do you see what I mean? They don't
Yeah.
offer that because maybe the lack of understanding of the presentation of the young person. Yes, he's in a tracksuit with a cap and he's annoyed. Yeah, anyone would be annoyed being in hospital when he could be out playing, playing with his mates. So there's a lot of that thing that occurs. And then maybe it was offered one time and he was like, nah.
Yeah.
But they didn't continue to explore it. Where somebody else, they would constantly go, I really think you should, think of therapy. Now, okay. So it's that kind of thing. Maybe it's offered, but asking a person one time is not enough.
So question, is therapy something you can do to avoid being sectioned? Like, so let's say someone has an issue and almost prevention is better than cure, right? Is it something that can be done? Yeah.
Potentially, not necessarily all the time. Some people are in therapy and they still break down. So, but prevention is better than cure. And it's not just therapy, anything that helps you. So like exercising, whatever your practice is to keep you okay. Like sleeping. Sleeping's a big trigger. Sleeping is a very big trigger. If you've ever not slept for a period of time, you might be you're more prone to either anger, you're more prone to feeling sad, you're more prone to certain things. Something happens when you're not sleeping, you might react more. You think, right, like why am I reacting in this way?
You're sharp, like you're ruder even to people. People will be trying to ask you normal.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's not just therapy, it's all of your all of the things that you do to keep you. That's why I said in the last thing about to be a 7, to be an 8 takes effort.
I hear that.
Right?
It does. Yeah.
It takes effort because it's. If I'm really honest, I'm not diminishing because I've had depression. There's something easy about going back into my familiar place and just being like not bothered. I might just message you, I can't bother to come. Sorry, Harold, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
I'll just be at home and I feel bad. Oh my God, I cancelled. I'm a failure. Those thoughts, then you wake up thinking, oh my God, why did I just cancel?
Yeah, I should have just gone. Yeah.
And then, you might message me to say, and because I've lied to you, basically, it's like, oh, I just feel really, really sick. And you'd be like, oh, that's what happens, right? When somebody flops you, sometimes it's because they're just really sad.
Yeah.
They're not bothered. And then you say, oh, you're always a flop, man. You're always a flop. Then people stop inviting that person.
That's true. Yeah.
And actually, do
true.
you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
that's true,
So because how to articulate yourself, like if I said to you, and you probably will get it because of where you're at, but how many people will say, look, I'm not feeling good, oh come on man, just come out man, you promised, come through man.
I
paid for the studio, like, do you know what I mean? Like, bruv, come through. I made sure everyone get here.
But no one cares why you feel that.
So I was gonna say, so what is the actual point of therapy then? Why do people go to therapy?
Really good question. People go to therapy for many different reasons. I think one of the biggest reasons is to resolve unresolved issues. Yeah. Right? Okay. So a lot of us are carrying unresolved issues from childhood. Yeah.
So sorry to interrupt here, but before we get into it, I want to ask, like, have any of you done therapy or like been interested? Because obviously within our community, even myself, like, I think for a long time, people were like, oh, go therapy. I was like, when I'm ready, innit? But have any of you been?
I think
therapy?
the older I've gotten,
Yeah,
the more exposed I am. I've always been an exposed child, to be fair. But I think the more I've become self-aware, I am open to the idea. I've never had it professionally, but I have loads of different conversations with loads of different people, and they make me think things I've never thought. So I'll listen to someone from a different perspective. Even like, so for example, I not with the mother of my child, right? And even that conversation is somewhat, I would say, therapeutic, if that makes sense. Like, because so many different people have a different way in which I should handle my situation. You know, like, man, I have like my friends from a different cloth that will tell me, yo, don't let her do that. Like, she's taking the mitt. Then I have a different batch that will tell me, I'll be very accommodating. You know, take your time, speak, be nice, always understand who she is in relation to my life. She's always going to be there. At the end of the day, she's my mother's son. So I feel like I've had a lot of informal therapy, but it would be good at some point to speak to somebody who actually know what they're doing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they would also make me think things I've never thought. You know, I've heard things from so many different perspectives. It's like when I'm deep in my own like thought, when I'm by myself, I just hear different voices. Like, oh, I'll do this, I'll do that. Like, consider this, and it's like, you know, it's really weird, but
and that's what therapy is to a degree. It's different perspectives, and you said the different voices in your head, right? Saying should I do that. What therapy does is make sure that you don't follow the voice that is from back then that's not resolved. Do you feel what I mean? So maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to give an example. So, because I've got friends in similar situations with yourself. So let's say the mother of their child kind of says, you know, you say, oh, am I picking up my son at this time, right? Maybe in that situation, like, okay, maybe in that situation, she's normally quite short with you, right? And it just really presses your buttons because you just know growing up, whenever your parent or somebody was short with you, it just made you flip out. And maybe she's been doing really well and you've kind of spoken about this and she's not doing that. But one day she's rushing and she just go, yeah. And you think, what? Are you just get really vexed, and then you kind of respond in that way. And she's like, right, I really wasn't trying to do that. And you go back into your old patterns, right? These are things that happen. In your mind, you feel legitimately, I should react to it. I'm tired of this. We already spoke about this. Yeah, you've done 2 weeks of being good, but what's 2 weeks? And then in that moment, it was maybe your child was making her do something. She just said, yeah. And then, do you see what I mean? Therapy would make you go, okay, if I react the way I would normally react because I don't like when people are short with me, I find it disrespectful, whatever the reasons why that triggers you, right? What's the normal outcome? Well, we don't talk. I don't see my son for a couple of weeks. What therapy would make you do? Okay, what can you do different? Because what you then also have to work out is part of you feels it's also unfair because like, why should I have to always adapt differently? Why do I have to always adapt differently to her? To her. But what therapy will make you do is not you're adapting differently, you're choosing a different response because you want to be able, you can't control the environment, what you can do, control your response. So what you're saying is essentially what therapy does. It brings up a mirror and enables you to see, okay, what's your usual behavior that you always do? And then what behavior, what options do you have to choose something different? So it's your choice. You can choose to go down your familiar, you flip out, you get vexed, whatever, or you can choose a different response.
Well, I think what you said definitely, it must be that. Because now, and I think with every decision that I make in my life, I always try and think about the outcome. Like now, I legit always think about it now. It could be anything, it could be something minute. I will always think about the outcome. Like I had an issue with her not too long ago, and literally what you said was what I did. Before I spoke to her, I said to myself, if I respond, I normally respond. This ain't gonna go well. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes I hear things, I hear messages, and I say to myself, I don't take it in the moment, and then it will just come back to me. You can't fight fire with fire. So if I tried in that moment, if I responded how I felt in that moment, I would have just collapsed the whole thing. Do you know what I mean? So you just have to say to yourself, all right, cool. I feel some type of way. No problem. When you speak to my man, just be calm, just be steady. And that's what I'm learning now. That just to be calm, to be steady. You know, because I feel like, yeah, there've been loads of times, you know, bro, you see something's happening, you're wilding out, she's gonna wild out, you're gonna double wild out, then you're gonna lock off the phone, you're gonna be like, don't hang up on me, and everything's just done.
No point,
and nothing's been resolved.
What about you, Wale? Like, have you been to therapy? Have you thought about it? Like,
I ain't been to therapy, you know.
how come?
I feel personally, I don't think it'll work for me, you know.
It will.
How? Why
I
not?
don't feel like if I talk to someone, what am I talking to them for? They don't care.
But that's what I just said to you, like, bro. That's what I'm saying. Like, I could tell you something now from a different perspective that you
wouldn't have thought about.
Nah, but
You're closed-minded.
Nah, I just don't feel like, unless you've been in the exact same position that I've been in, you're never really gonna understand. So your point of view,
do
you know what, man? Because I believe, I in my lifetime, obviously they're not therapists, but obviously, you know, sometimes you tell certain people certain things, and you open up and that, Nothing's happened from it, bro.
But
it's like I've done it, and then okay, what happened? It's like me telling you did not resolve nothing. No, I'm not even trying to like be funny or anything.
Obviously,
I'm just saying, like, me telling you did not resolve nothing. Like whatever problem I had or whatever was on my mind when I told you, it's still there. And now you just know my business. No, for legit, because you must have told me whatever you want to tell me. Whatever advice you told me. It hasn't changed nothing. You know what I mean? Now all it is I'm still going through whatever it is. You just know what it is. And then every other day, oh, how's that? You don't give a fuck.
No,
you don't.
You know what it is?
Nah, man.
Sometimes it helps to speak to people, innit?
I don't think it's ever helped me.
People are wiser than you. They've been in similar situations. They might be able to help you in a certain way that you never thought of. I feel like you're just being closed-minded.
I don't think I am, because I've actually tried. No, with therapists though, with people. I've tried with people.
For me,
and nothing's really worked.
Let me say this here. For me,
I'm just like, might as well keep it to myself and work on it myself.
I'll let you go with that, But for me, I started to do it this year, right? I started to do therapy this year.
Professionally, Professionally,
Yeah. And they're actually trained, right? And this is what I found, is you have to go through therapists to find someone that works for you. Because there are some therapists that actually don't work for you, that you'd be like, what you talk like, this ain't it. Do you get what I mean? And then
isn't that just picking and choosing whose opinion you agree with?
No, not really. No, some people you just don't connect. Like, it don't make sense, bro. You
slightly.
Slightly,
every therapist. And again, I'm not trying to, like, you know, be rude to therapists.
No.
But that means every therapist should say the right thing to you.
It's not about what they say, though.
Right. There's no such thing.
It's not about
what is it then?
Bro, sometimes you just don't connect with them, and you can't speak as freely as you want to. Or else there'll be another one where you're just like, raw. Like, I just let everything out.
Essentially, it's like this, though. You know, there's some people that you might feel comfortable to tell your business to, how you're feeling, you're really feeling. I'm sure there's people in your life like that, right? That you believe they have that trust. Well, come on, man, there must have been, bro.
Yeah, no, innit?
Do you know what I mean? So it's essentially similar. It's that filtering process. You're finding someone that you feel comfortable basically exposing yourself and being vulnerable with.
And the fact that you don't know them, bro. So what they're gonna do with the piece of information? They can't pass it on to no one.
They're gonna tell their partner when they get home.
They don't know you, bro. They don't know you from anywhere. It doesn't matter. You still
know my business, bro.
They don't know you from anywhere.
I don't know. I have a thing of people know my business, innit? So maybe that's just my thing, anyway.
But
I just feel like regardless, I'm still gonna deal with it myself. So I might as well deal with it myself.
Are you? So this is okay. I want you to finish what you were saying about the therapy.
For me, what he said about what you start to realize is you deal with things a certain way because of things that have happened in the past.
Yeah,
like, or you act like either your dad or mom, and you don't realize that that's how you're acting, but it's not necessarily a good thing in that time, right? But I think the biggest takeaway I've had from therapy is my approach to things, right? Is usually, again, someone will say something and you're like, what? That either you're mugging me off or we're gonna argue, we're gonna go back and forth. Like, you have to hear my point, and then after I kind of get my point across, I'm not really trying to hear your point, or I'm not trying to acknowledge how you're feeling. You know, a lot of the time people will say, oh, I think the biggest takeaway for me, someone will be like, oh, I feel a certain way about something, and in your head you're like, nah, there's no way you can feel that way because that wasn't my intention. but unfortunately, that's how they feel about it. So learning to almost go, okay, cool, that wasn't my intention, but I almost acknowledge how you feel about it.
Which is almost acknowledging, or
no, I do. No, I do.
I mean.
But I was so used to kind of not, because it wasn't my intention. Why are you feeling that way?
Yeah,
I didn't mean
hear
to.
you.
So why? But now I'm like, okay, cool. I acknowledge the fact that you feel that way. It wasn't my intention, and we talk through it.
You ever say sorry?
Yeah, of course.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
Because I've made them feel that way.
But
it wasn't
that's not
intentional.
Exactly. So
Yeah,
what you say
but
sorry
I've
for?
made them feel that way.
So
They feel that way though.
so
I made them feel that way.
so
You see what I mean?
I don't know.
because you have
You have a job to do.
You have some
The floor is yours.
So
Deal
the,
with
the thing is, Wale is really what our parents say, right? I'm not saying, but just that's the cultural.
Yeah.
That's what our parents say.
hear
Okay, who am I going to speak to and talk my business and what have you? The thing is though, Wale, what you're saying from what I'm hearing is, yeah, therapist is, if you're, I don't know, let me see, if you're in debt, right? You go into therapist, your therapist ain't getting you out of debt, bruv. You're not a financial advisor, right? But maybe they were going to help you process of maybe your impulsiveness or your lack of discipline or whatever it is, because there's a reason why you're in debt, right? So they're going to deal with that. Because if you're in debt and excessive debt, we're not talking about like, student loan debt or like a really bad situation, God forbid someone dies and you've got to take out a loan to pay for their thing, right? It's just stupid debt. There's a reason why you're in debt. There's a reason. There's a behavior.
Honestly, sorry. Please, man, them. If you got kids, as young parents, go and get life insurance.
I knew he was gonna say that.
It's a must. It's true.
No, because you just said something.
Yeah, it's very true.
That's what
Do
happens.
not die.
Yeah.
And leave the cost
to your kids,
on your children, your mother, whoever you love. Yeah, they can't afford it. Don't be, bro. You're dead. You're done. But your family's still here to grieve you, bro.
Yeah.
Go and get life insurance.
Get that.
It's not a joke.
Do you have it?
Of course I have it.
How long you been paying for it?
Bro, like how long? I'm myself 3-4 years now. My auntie put me on. Soon as I was born, I was on it. I was not on it for a long time. Then she sat me down. Then she told me. Then she told me how I can do it, what my soul will be entitled to, how it would work. My focus is on my son. I don't plan on dying young, but God forbid I were to die. At least I know from a financial point of view, my little man's gonna be all right. Yeah, he's not gonna have to. My mom's not gonna have to. No one's gonna think about it. Even though I know my mom could probably afford to bury me, but at the end of the day, I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
Ain't gonna do GoFundMe.
Yeah, no, I. What? Wale, I get this guy.
I can't lie. Anything, don't do a GoFundMe, If anything happens to me, don't do a GoFundMe, bro. Don't do one. Don't do one.
HoilBoys for Wale and keep the money. Don't worry.
So therapy is not going to get you out of debt, but therapy is going to hopefully work out, with your therapist why you're getting into these situations. Similar with maybe unhealthy relationships or whatever, the word toxic relationships, right? No, therapist is not going to get you out literally. But through therapy, it might bring you awareness of going, why do I keep going to the same girl? Why am I going into these same patterns of behavior and relationship? Same with parents. Some of us, especially we come from African backgrounds. I don't know how, I know a lot of girls and I know a lot of men have difficult issues with their mothers and their fathers, right? Therapy helps with that. Now, does it may not help your parent? It helps you respond to them differently. Yeah. So whether your situation that you're going through, no, your therapist isn't going to get you out of that situation, but the feelings attached to that situation, the feelings attached to previous situations, right, is what's going to help out. Because even when the situation resolves, all of the feelings attached don't disappear. Yes, in the moment you're happy, the situation is gone, but if something similar occurs, all of those same feelings that you had come back again. They're not resolved. You're dealing with the situation, yes, and you're trying to get out of whatever situation is, right? But your feelings are there. But what we do as Black people, we suppress it. Oh, we're good. However long, it could be years, but another situation is going to come around and all those feelings, and think about it, it's a bit like if I was pouring this cup into this bottle, right? When you're not dealing with an issue, right? What happens? You pour it into the cup, and then when the issue stops, the cup stops. It gets to there. Imagine the next issue. It's going to come a point where it starts to overflow. You see, you've got friends and family members. It doesn't got to be a major thing. They're just always angry. They're just always upset. They've broken up with their partner. Men, I don't know how old you guys are. Probably older millennials, right? In
Good
the
age.
30s, right?
Good age.
I love it. Good age, yeah. We're looking 40 soon, right? I mean, a couple of years. But men between 30 and 45 are more likely to commit suicide.
Yeah.
Do you know what? Yeah.
Why is that though?
I've been seeing a lot of that. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of brothers are like, it's peak, bro. Like, man, am I just killing themselves?
Because when it gets overwhelming, yeah, it's like, okay, what do I do? Like, and
Mhm.
a lot of the time you're thinking,
Talk to God, man.
And
nah,
that's the
but
same
bro,
man
can't lie,
that's
bruv.
like, that's saying what you're saying. I'm going to get myself out of the situation.
Yeah,
I am not going to talk
bro.
to anybody.
Talk to
What's
God,
who's
man.
going to help me?
I think that's how I deal with it, innit? Because I pray, and I
But
feel
you
like
need more than that, bro.
nah, I feel like
I'm-
me praying, yeah, is better than me talking to. That's just I'm talking about just me and
No, be
me
honest,
praying is better than me talking to anyone, innit? Yeah, and with any situation that I'm in, like I pray over it, and then I actually sit down and realize what the problem is, innit?
Mhm.
Because I'm not one of those people that will just master problem. You know what I mean? I see what the problem is and find out the solution, and then pray over what I can do to overcome it. And then when I overcome it, innit? But I don't know. I just feel like talking to God, there's no one else I could talk to. I feel like that's for me, innit?
And
That's how I
that's
do
You
it.
don't feel like you could talk to your mom?
Nah.
Fair.
I don't feel like I could talk to anyone. I'll be real.
And then
I'll be
this
so real.
and so your reaction is what I think is very honest. In all honesty,
Yeah,
right?
of course, yeah.
You don't trust anyone to speak to, and the only thing I can say to a person that feels that way is say, look, take a risk, right? You talk to friends, it flopped. Yeah, it did flop. You talk to friends, it didn't work out. Unfortunately, that was the situation. Your friends were not able to handle. They weren't able to provide whatever it is that you thought they could provide. Fair enough. Okay, right? Go to a trained professional and test it out.
Just try it.
Right? If there's if a few other people have said, look, you know what, bro, I was a bit skeptical, but it's actually worked for me. Let's see if it works for you. Try it out.
Yeah.
Make an informed decision after you've tried it out first. Because a lot of us, right, are saying, I won't go to therapy, but you haven't even tried it.
Yeah.
Try it out. See if it works. If it doesn't work, you can actually say, I went, it didn't work. Maybe a coach is better. Maybe a mentor is better, right? But
I'll come to you. I'll come to you. Why?
What?
I can't know the therapist.
not
Wait,
necessarily.
can he come to you? He can, innit?
Yeah.
He could. No, it's not.
But not like we're bedrooms in that way. Yeah. Then that will be crossing ethical things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. We can talk about that. But with what you said about also personality, right? 'Cause you were asking how it's not about Howard wasn't looking for a person to agree with him. It's just a connection. It's like a rapport. It's like imagine you got all girls that you like. They're all beautiful. They've all got good things, right? But there's one or two you just click with. Why? Just click. I just vibe with them. It's the same thing. It's like a thing you can't fully explain. You just have a click, right? It doesn't make the other therapist bad. It just means you didn't click with them because that is important, especially for you who is already distrustful. And the reason why I can say that is I was the same. My therapist said I was one of the hardest cases to have because I went to therapy because I had to, because I was doing therapy. I was trying to become a therapist and you had to do therapy. I was like, oh, okay. If that's what I got to do. I literally was in therapy for like over a year. What are you talking about? I'll be like, I don't know. I literally did not know what to say. And she said to me, she was like, what am I doing in therapy? Then one day after a period of time, she just, she continued being herself, continued trying to, prompt me to speak. And then I said something, I was like, oh, I'm too scared to tell, I'm getting hot. I don't know if I can tell you, I've said, my mom says, never say anything out of business, And I said it, and her reaction, she held the secret, this big thing that I can't tell anybody. She held it well.
Yeah.
I could see the emotion in her face that she was touched. I'm thinking, it's stupid, you're going to laugh at me. She didn't laugh. And then that little thing, I was like, right, okay, I can do this again. I can do it again. All right. 8-9 years later, I can say quite a lot of things quite transparently. Which is 10 years ago. If you asked me how I was, I would start sweating. I was like, bro, fuck, answering this question. I was the best deflector.
Yeah.
I'd be like, how are you, Harold? What's up, man? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And because people had to talk about themselves, it was very easy to do. Because most people did not mind. Oh, what you doing? Oh, I swear you went out last week. Let's talk about that. Do you know what I mean? Not knowing that I've deflected the conversation. Because once you start asking me about me, I start to get nervous because I don't know. I can't tell you. I can't articulate how I'm feeling. Because my mum had it in my head. You don't say your business.
Yeah.
Don't tell anybody. So what I'm saying to you, this is a natural thing. Like, don't trust people. I didn't trust anybody. Because when I tell my mum something that happened to me, she didn't handle it right. So if my own mum can't handle the thing that I told her, who else is gonna? Do you see what I mean? Right? Yeah. But it takes a risk.
I don't know who told me though. I don't think anyone told me. I feel
probably
there's probably like past experiences.
Past experiences, cultural.
You think that we just deeped?
It's a cultural thing. You just see it.
Yeah. Like, what about you? You said something, innit? You was like, we are our parents, innit?
Yeah. No, but I think that's the thing. Like within our community, it's super difficult to see it as normal because some people go therapy and there's nothing wrong with them per se. Do you know what I mean? Like there's nothing, and you were talking about there's nothing wrong with them. Like they don't identify. But what I realize is, bro, this is what I said. Yeah, I said to myself the other day. I said, whatever I've been doing for the past 30 years, yeah. If you tell me, oh, don't do it that way anymore, it's gonna be like, what? You know what I mean? Like, let's say your therapist is like, oh, when you read something that triggers you, don't reply, chill. Like, give it an hour or two. You're thinking, I've been replying straight away for 30 years.
You know, touching on that, yeah. I asked him many times, I'll screenshot a chat and I'll send it to him. And then the man will tell me what to say.
Yeah. Because if he replies what he actually wants to.
Because if I say what I want to say,
it's done. Yeah.
Like, I just need a different perspective.
Yeah.
And the good thing about therapy, right, just in this case, is that you could actually, with a good therapist, you can scream and shout like to them. So what I mean is the emotion that you want to say that you can't do, you can be, once you've built up that, that rapport with that person, you can express that. So if I was your therapist, I'd be like, what do you want to say? Tell me what you would have said. Effing this, she's this. Who do you think you are? That, get it out. Yeah. Because you got to get it out. You got to let it out. It's just letting it out in a way that's not destructive, letting it out in a way that doesn't harm you and other people, and not keeping it in. Yeah. That eventually will harm yourself.
But let's just say, okay, cool. Someone like Wale who's kind of struggling to go to therapy, what can they do to help?
He's like, I've become a case now. Like, I'm here, bro. I'm here. Someone like Wale.
or like, okay, cool. So I'm guessing within black men don't go to therapy. And like you said, between 30 and 45, the suicide rate. So let's just put therapy on the side for a sec. What can we do to help ourselves day to day in terms of how we deal with things and our emotions? Because sometimes I wake up and I just don't feel right. Like, I'm just not. Do you know what I mean? Like, I will do everything, bro. We'll be on pro clubs, do our thing, blah, blah, blah. But I know deep down I don't feel right. So, like, what can we do on our day to day to deal with that and just be okay?
Can I just say that before I answer that question? That's quite normal. See, this is the thing, right? A lot of things are not normalized. So when you wake up and not feel right, there's a part of your mind think, right, that's normal. Like, and because no one talks about it, not knowing that if we asked everybody, it'd be like, quite a few days a week, I wake up, I don't feel right. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's actually quite a normal thing. What they say, to wake up and drink out of bed. And genuinely, there's something normal to just kind of feel off, and you wake up, and then throughout the day, you might get better. But when you go into what no one's talking about, I woke up quite feeling off. So you kind of just assume, okay, maybe it's just me. So I want to normalize that. That is also one of the things, normalizing it. The more you guys talk, so when you ask about how's your mental, it's actually normalizing it. Saying that you're 4.5, if this was maybe, if you guys weren't close or you guys haven't got in that relationship, you're like, oh yeah, I'm an 8. In your head, you're thinking, bro, I'm a 4.5. I'm an 8. Then when you get into the car, you're like, bro, like, you don't feel good.
Let me push that down a bit more.
Do you know what I mean? So the fact that you could even admit that, you know what, I'm sad, but happy.
Yeah.
You got other friends that probably you wouldn't say, you'd be like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because you're like, I'm not going to tell you. Like, because if I said I'm not feeling good, we're going to say, oh, is it? Okay. And then that's it. Right? You're going to be like, is it? How do you watch the football the next day? That's what you're going to get, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of your friends that you've got pockets of them. Yeah, I'm good. But then you've got the friends that you can. So I think it's really important for a lot of men to articulate themselves from young. And I think a lot of black guys, especially men in general society, don't articulate their thoughts and their feelings, right?
Why do you think that is?
Because society includes families, includes schools, because I don't work with young people enough, but, when I go into schools, and I used to work with a lot of young people, when I will see let's say a 14-year-old young black boy, right? Maybe another guy just says, oh, shut up. What's his normal reaction? Are you dumb, mate? Are you dumb? Right? But maybe 10 years on, he'll be like, he probably just ignore it because he's realizing that you calling me and me not responding isn't me not being, it's just me working out, why did you call me that? You work it out in your head, right?
Yeah.
When you're at 14, you feel embarrassed. Everyone's looking at you. You feel like you've got to respond,
Yeah.
right? But when you're older, you realize, I don't need to respond. You're an idiot. Who actually tells someone to shut up for no reason? You've got the issue.
Yeah.
But it's hard for a 14-year-old guy to process that when within, and I'm only assuming, you can guys can tell me if I'm wrong, but within, being boys, it's kind of that thing. You've got to act like you're kind of tough, right? If you're not, you're called sassy or you're sissy, all of those stuff, right? But if he learned, and some guys are good at that, you talk about influence and peer pressure, right?
Yeah.
If he had a really good group of friends will be like, "Wow, he's an idiot, bruv. Don't chat to, like, he's an idiot. He's stupid. He's failing his exams, man. You don't even want to be like it. Like, you'll find something to be like, why are you going to respond?
Yeah.
It doesn't make you weak. Others might think you're that, but really it doesn't make you weak because who just tells someone to shut up for no reason is actually stupid, right? But a lot of men are not learning to articulate themselves in that way because parents don't do that. School don't do that, right? So where are you going to learn to articulate your thoughts and feelings? When you're vexed and you're upset, right? I don't know if you did, but I'm just trying to remember how many boys went to that and said, I'm vexed. You just got angry. You might do something in class to get kicked out because you're really angry. And all it is, you're just really angry and you can't articulate yourself. So you'll just muck up in class to get out of class. And then maybe just muck up with your friends because it's probably better than feeling your feelings and anger, right? These are the little things that occur that begins to put in your mind, I'm not going to express myself.
I can't lie,
What is the point to
that
express
is so
myself?
true, because sometimes I'll do something and then I'll go back at it and I'll be like, wait, I only did that because I was feeling that way. But instead of saying anything about it, I'll rather act up, if you get what I mean, or I'll rather argue and then you're like, wait, like literally there was no point. The only reason why, and sometimes, bro, sometimes it's a positive feeling, but because let's say you want something and you can't get it, but you just act up.
Is this you in school or you know?
No, even even growing up, like even as a big man, like you act up, but you go back and deep why you acted up. And sometimes it's just because you can't have something in that moment. You see what I'm saying? And you argue or you do something, it would be very silly. But that once you calm down, you realize that, if I said how I was feeling then, this wouldn't have happened.
Think about it. You said something, right? Our parents come back home. They're working a 15-hour shift.
Yeah.
You want to tell your mum, like, oh, I played in the school. You want to say something. Your mum's like, I beg, be quick, cool. I'm tired. Found these ambulance. Like, everything is quick.
Yeah.
So if you're not quick to say what you want, she'll be looking at you like...
Yeah, you can't
So
process it.
those small little things, they're not big deals. Fine. Like, in a bigger scheme of things, I think they're not big deal. But they are big deals. Yeah. Because in your mind, in a little 5-year-old mind, you learn, I can't say what I want to say to my mum. Yeah. So when she says, hi, how are you? I'm fine, I'm fine.
And you even like take those things, and sometimes that can be you towards your children.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or not even to children, to other people.
Yeah.
I'll
finish out yourself.
I'll basically finish.
No, because what you just said is how I see myself resonating with my son. As he's like, because obviously I'm outside a lot. So I might come back home and I'm spent. I just want to chill. My son will come to me, Daddy, can I play PS5? I want to be like, yo,
I don't have time for this.
I don't want to hear. I don't want to see nothing. But now I'm realizing that he just wants me.
Yeah.
Like, he don't care for nothing. He just wants me to. So now I'll just be like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So I'll lie down on the bed with him.
Yeah.
And the man will hear him. Like, he'll just be there.
Yeah.
Doing whatever he's doing. Daddy, look.
When you stop playing, he used to join our party,
like,
every day.
He joins now.
Is it?
Do you know what I mean? So what you said, it definitely is that, because for a parent, I was working a 15-hour shift, coming back and tired. I can understand now. You're tired. You yourself, I want to sleep. I've come to tell you about their day. But you have to listen. Yeah. Because he's going to grow and think, nah, there's no point in me coming to my mom.
Yeah.
She ain't going to listen. And then they're going to turn around and say to you, why don't you come and talk to me? How? I've tried talking to you for many years, and every time I tried to talk to you, I was getting cold feet. Yeah. So you think I didn't see? Or you think I'm just gonna carry on wasting my time? After some point, especially when he grows up, I don't expect my son to be this innocent little baby that he is now forever. In like 5 years, he's gonna be a different kettle of fish. He might not look at me the same way he looks at me now. So I need to make sure that I give him time. Do you know what I mean? You invest.
Because you want your 13, 14-year-old child at that time to come to you and say, this guy gave me something, and you're like, bruv. But that's what happens. You don't come. You come home, you get the thing, you tell your friends, and then one of your friends says, yeah, just take it, sell it. And that's how things spiral out of control. And then your mum's going, I didn't know my child was doing.
Yeah, that's true. I tried to tell you did.
It's true, though.
But it's true. Like what you just said, definitely. I'm looking at it now and I can visually see it happening. Like if I don't do something about it, it's going like this is exactly how it's gonna go down. I'm gonna be one of those dads that he's gonna say, "Oh my dad's just outside, man. He works. He comes back and that's it." Do you know what I mean? Like, don't really. Do you get? He will go out. I'll come back late, and my son will wait. He'll wait for me.
Yeah, it's definitely true. Because I feel like with age, you grow up and you realize certain things that obviously you take good qualities from your parents, yeah. But
you also take the 100%, yeah.
You take from your parents as well, man. Because I think like with me, like I feel like when I moved out, yeah, it helped me a lot, bro. I can't even lie. I feel like I need
your relationship with your parents.
Yeah, like it made it so much better, yeah. And I feel like, as I said,
call you every single day or just once in a while?
Pardon?
Does she call you like every single day or just once in a while?
What now?
Yeah.
No, she'll message me like nearly every day. We're in a group chat, innit? So yeah, every day she'll send me some TikTok something, innit?
Hey, TikTok now. Oh my god.
Love TikTok, but I feel like, yeah, I don't know. With me, as I said, I didn't really talk to anyone. I kind of just realized it myself, yeah, and I realized what I needed to do, and moving that, having a change in life or scenery, really helped. And yeah, man. No, I just wanted to say that, man.
Do you know the bro? The rattler, for me is having issue. I feel like we all go through phases where we have issues with our mum, right? And when I say that is, for example, you disagree on certain things, the approach to certain things, like quite a few things, right? And especially if you live at home at an older age where you're like, I want to be myself, like I want to be a man, and they think they're allowing you to do so, but then sometimes they interrupt a way where you're like, nah, don't do that, and but then you spent your entire life seeing her as perfect,
mummy,
yeah.
You know
So it's like, okay, where do we go from here? You see what I'm saying? And you're not and even you've not been taught how to express yourself, so you're like, all right, let me just wait till I move out, and then
I said this to you. My dad said something to me one time. He said, "You know your mummy as mum." Like, my dad said something to me one time. Yeah. He's like, "You know your mummy as your mum, but I know her
as yeah."
You know as what?
But he said her name. I know her as her name.
Okay, yeah.
Do you get? And bro, literally, it was like,
what do you? Yeah.
This man just says it because, bro, deep it, yeah. I know Marcel's mum as.
Yeah. But Marcel,
he knows her as mum.
It's true, you know.
And it's two different people.
Yeah.
100%. That realization,
bro,
is deep.
It's two different people. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
You're like, bro, the pedestal that you put people on,
yeah, basically,
honestly,
subconsciously, you don't even deep it, bro.
Yeah.
Like, you don't even know. Like, my mum is behind God. Is my mum.
She can do no wrong.
But she can do no wrong. But to my father, my mother is just a woman. Just another woman. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, regardless whether they're together or not, it's just a woman. I have her up here.
Yeah.
Do you get? Does he? You know, ask my tap, bro. That's exactly the same thing. I was thinking, what the fuck? Anyway.
No, it was an important realization because like a lot of us, we had difficult relationship with my mum. I've got a good one with her now, but I know a lot of black, women, they really have a very difficult relationship with their mothers and their fathers. But I realized that my mother was a separate entity than my mum when we went Turkey together, and everyone kept telling me, "Your mum is funny. Your mum is really funny. She's really funny." I was like, And my mum's like, "Bro, what are you talking about?" I thought, let me actually look at my mum.
See, are you funny?
And see her. Oh, was just busting jokes. She was flirting with men. I said, what is going on? And I realized my mum was actually a whole woman. When she was 26, she was a whole woman before she had me. Then she became my mother. But she is not my mother when she's outside with her people. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it made me appreciate her. And it made me also understand, okay, my mother became a mother at 26. She came from one country to another. She was in an abusive relationship. She was working. She was illegal for a couple of years before. All of those factors would obviously contribute to the parenting that I had. Then you kind of put things in context. It doesn't make it any right. It doesn't diminish it. But you start to realize the person. And not just think, well, you're my mother though. So I think it's such an important revelation when you realize that. But it can also be not good if your parent is very, very difficult, very, very abusive, and sometimes you realize that some people have children, and because a lot of people that I've met, not just clients, just friends, their mothers are jealous of them, or their mothers just can't stand them. Or one guy said to me, and this was really deep, he said, my mother has a really bad relationship with my sister, but is a complete different person with me.
Oh wow.
I said, you see it? He said, yeah, I can see it. Like the way my sister is treated, I can actually see it.
The African.
Yeah, and what you find is a lot of, in terms of sibling relationship, when there's like a guy and a girl, sometimes the guy is like, oh, our mother's great.
Yeah.
And the girl's like, are we in the same house?
Yeah.
So I said to him, you know what? That is really good. You can see that, because I'm sure your sister feels really bad when she's talking about your mother and you're thinking, oh, me and her are really great. But he can see that there's a big difference. And you see that a lot in African households as well. There's a big difference. Sometimes you've got like the mother, sometimes the son is very passive. So like I've known of people that, like for example, weddings, right? Typical African mothers when they get involved, right? And then maybe one of the child is like, no, this is going to be my wedding. Yeah. And the brother's like, come on, man, just let her take it. Let her have it. Because he let her have it. Yeah. He let her take control kind of thing. And that's the golden child. Then you're the rebel because you want something different. Right? So yeah, I think it's really important to see your parents as a separate entity, both positive and negative, because it really makes it easier to work through some of the trauma. Because if you're like, well, she's my mother, how could she do this to me? She was also a separate person with her own needs, and she did not see you as the child that she was meant to see you as, unfortunately. And sometimes it helps to kind of just understand that and realize that, well, you know what? My mother's my mother, but actually she wasn't a good person. Or my father was a father, but he wasn't a good person. Though it's hard, it's not easy. You do that in therapy or do that with people you can do that with. But I think it sometimes breaks up this whole kind of like, how can my father do this to me? How can my father just leave me? It's like, he was a man. Yeah. And he didn't get on with your mum, and he chose to leave.
Yeah, that one can't stay in. Sorry.
Yeah. Do you know what? It's difficult because being the child of a father that left, and a mother who did not, like, so, the typical thing that, okay, if I said to someone that, someone might say, oh yeah, but I bet your mother did it poison your mind. I said, no. I grew up thinking my father, all he did was left. The only bad thing I thought he did was leave. Right? The things that I found out weren't my mum. Somebody told me by accident. Okay. Oh, wow. And I had to confront her. So she gave me this whole fairy tale lifestyle about my dad. And I'm not denying, because I've got friends in situations that they fought. Like, when I say he fought, he actually asked me, he was like, Ngozi, do you think I should leave? I said, if my dad did half of what you did, I would appreciate that. Right? Because you fought. He went to court. He fought for his child, yeah? Not many men do that. Some men, to court, paid nearly over 100K to fight for his child, right? Now he's got really good custody. But I said to him, many men would give up. Yeah. And he asked me, he said, do you think I should? Because this is driving me mad. Yeah. I'm spending so much money, making all of this difficult, basically like nearly destroying my entire life. Yeah. And I said, if you feel at this point to leave, I actually think it's understandable, because you're dealing with an unreasonable person. Yeah. When you're an unreasonable person, sometimes all you can do is leave. So I get that, right? But then I said, you just need to have evidence that you did something, because your child's going to come back to you. What did you do? Yeah. However, and I'm not saying that isn't the case for a lot of people, there are many cases where that ain't the case, mate.
Of course. Yeah.
And that's the bit that's really difficult to understand. And it's also difficult when you were once involved. So my father was once involved in my life. And then he left. And he said what you said, she will come find me. And that wasn't from a place of, oh, I hope she come find me. It was that arrogance. Yeah. I can leave because she will come find me.
Did you go find him?
I have, and I can't find him.
Oh, wow. How was your relationship before he left?
I was 4. I remember good moments, in all honesty. I remember good times. The last time I remembered him was not a good time. He embarrassed my mum in public. That was the last time I saw him. I think he won lottery. Went back to Nigeria. Couldn't come back. So he couldn't come back.
Won the lottery?
Yeah, he won the lottery. I don't know. It wasn't like millions, but he won a decent amount to flaunt it.
500.
I don't know. It was back. It was in the 90s. It was in the 90s.
Go back in time and collect the money.
But he made enough to flaunt it, go back to Nigeria, and then couldn't come back, right? And I think I've got siblings out there and all that stuff. And then I heard, he tried to do some juju stuff, and he was domestically violent to my mum, and I didn't know that. Yeah. So all of the marks on my mum's body that I thought she told me, when I was in Nigeria, and I carried on my head. That's what I thought was from, until someone by accident said, when your dad used to beat your mum. That's crazy. And I was just shocked. I said, what? Yeah. And she went, oh. And she was like, oh. I said, no. Rewind it back. Tell me, what are you saying? Yeah. And I confronted my mum, and you're typical, I said, Mum, tell me what happened. And I asked her why. She went, I didn't want you to have a bad picture of your father, right? And I still thankful to that day because it would not been a nice picture to know growing up. Right? I had an idyllic picture of my father that he just left. He just wasn't around. And then the pain of not having my father, obviously I dealt with that in therapy. But that's a lot of the difficulty. I don't know the mother of your child's story, right? But that's where you see the interaction between male and female interactions. Yeah. You know, you might have a father in the household. I'm hearing a lot of fathers nowadays are very passive. The mother is like become the matriarch of the family, particularly in a lot of African households. The father is just emasculated. Yeah. The father doesn't do anything.
The society, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Honestly, I really do believe that. I really do hear.
Society men.
Let the man be a man.
Yeah, generally. Because to some extent, I think I'm similar. If my son's mom tells me, "Oh, she wants to do this," I'm like, "All right, cool." Because one, I just think it's not even worth the conversation. Yeah. Or if it's a difference of opinion, I might be like,
that's fine.
That's different between the passivity that a father has in their relationship with their children.
Oh, are you talking about in the relationship with the children or relationship with the mother?
Both, but sometimes it cross borders. Okay. So, like, for example,
passive.
Okay, so in a lot of, I'm just saying generally, I don't know, but in a lot of African households, and particularly, you know, I think majority of us are Nigerian or Ghanaian, whatever. You know,
it's mixed race.
In a
of Irish.
You know, when you hear comedians, right, they will do the typical mother. And then sometimes you see in comedy that when the father gets home, but sometimes it's not like that in the household. Your father is just there.
Yeah.
He's just quiet.
Yeah.
Your mother is shouting, she's screaming, beating you. You say, "Dad, listen to your mother."
Yeah. That's kind of normal, don't it?
That's passive, though.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's what I'm saying. That's very passive, right? Yeah. And then what about if it becomes excessive? So I don't know if you've got sisters, right? Or you got friends that have said there's a lot of narcissism in a lot of parents. Not all, but you find a lot. Like
definitely the ones that like when there's a boy and a girl in the house, right?
Not just that, just a lot of narcissism in a lot of like Nigerian culture celebrates a lot of narcissistic traits.
Can you give us an example?
Like what?
Okay, typical example is, have you ever come home, or like back in the day, like you would say to your mother, this was difficult. Next minute, this conversation has become their story.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I've been through?
You're like, bruv, this was, wait a minute, it's meant to be a conversation of me sharing.
Yeah.
And then you even become to feel guilty. Yeah. You feel guilty sharing your own stuff. You can't even begin. What do you go through? Yeah. Do you know? It's just like, yo, you asked me how I was. Yeah. This was a conversation, right? So the celebration of also, like, for example, typical wedding thing, right? And I'm not saying that parents that do that are narcissistic, but that can become really bad. So it's like, I don't know if anyone here got married, right? Or was married, or you've seen it. The mother takes control.
Do you think that's because they're trying to live vicariously?
There is, that's part, that's
that
is very much linked to
marriage.
I hate this.
There's an attachment, right? So your achievements becomes their achievements. Yeah. And my child, he's a doctor. Yeah. He's really good.
Yeah.
You know. So, and when it's excessive, these are typical things. That's normal. But when it's really excessive, if you've ever seen a Nigerian parent narcissistic, right? What tends to happen is that there's one child, the golden child. But once that golden child does not do what that parent says,
now they've lost it. Yeah.
That child, I beg that child, she's nothing. What's she going to do with her life? Yeah. The point that I'm trying to make is that some of the things that are normal to us, right, when it's heightened, so those are things, some of our parents have all done that, they're normal. But you've got parents that take it to the nth degree. There are some parents, you may not, thankfully you don't have that, but if you've ever gone to a parent's house that will insult their child in front of you, you're thinking, bruv, this is a bit awkward.
Much, yeah.
You know, they'll start saying, do you know my child? Does he even brush his teeth? He even smells. Have you seen his boxers? Embarrassing the child. Yeah. What are they getting out of that?
I think we should take our parents to therapy.
Yeah, we should.
Because
we should.
The older you are, bruv,
you on that?
You need more peace in it. You get me?
They won't though.
I said, are you on that?
Honestly, I might, you know.
No,
do you know that would be a crazy.
Not like my mum's like all like
do you know what's
all
fucked,
crazy or anything, but you never know because as you lot said, I know as my mum, innit? She had her whole life before I was born. Yeah. So you never know what she could still be holding on to.
Very true.
Or whatever, innit? So
true.
You never know, just talking to someone might help her, innit? But she might be like me and thinking might not help her.
you
never know.
See, like my dad, like I said, my dad's very present in my life, right? But my relationship with my father isn't like it is his with my son. If that makes sense.
So which is better? Which one?
Your relationship with your father.
my relationship with my father isn't like we're okay, but him and my son,
different.
It's like bum chumps. I feel as though he knows
the mistakes he made.
Yeah,
Oh,
you get
it's right.
like,
Rectifying it.
and then now
Yeah.
it's like,
Second
oh, Marcel, in our best. I'm thinking to myself, he's bro. Do you get? But I feel like that is life. Obviously, as they've gotten older, they've seen how we've developed, and then now they see our young ones. Now they're trying to, I guess, be more accommodating or more nurturing to him. Innit? Like my son,
That's what happens with the last born sometimes. The older children get
Yeah,
the harshness. And then you see the young thinking, wait a minute, mum, you didn't treat me like the way you're treating.
So
It's because they get tired, man.
it must be.
They have a lot of energy for you.
For at the start.
At the start.
Yeah. All right,
I've seen it happen
guys.
1,000 times.
I'll be tired as well, bro.
So,
So I'll be tired as well dealing with loads of kids.
yeah, man.
Come on, man.
When
Say-
you
you're
get to the
literally
last
saying
one,
the same
it's
thing.
like,
Yeah,
I've tried.
you enough.
yeah, man.
The older ones,
They're
look
the older
after
ones
the
who
last
look
one.
after
And
you.
let's
Pre-rad.
move it. Yeah, but guys, we'll round it up here. I think it's been one of our best
Wait,
episodes.
we ain't done Hoil of the week, bro.
Was it done? Is
I'm
it done?
about to do Hoil of the Week.
Jesus.
But before we do Hoil of the Week, if you could, I'm putting too much pressure on you, but 30 seconds. What should we take away from this episode in terms of mental health?
From this particular I think what your listeners should take away from this episode is to find safe spaces. I can tell that this is a safe space, right? And I think
Safe space?
What here?
No,
Maybe not.
Charlie's not here. So
Maybe not.
Charlie's not here. So
You know what though? Do you
Maybe
know what?
not.
As much as we bad, we get things out like in a way, like
It's not
without-
safe, man.
Okay, it's not safe.
Okay, some people don't find it
It's
safe,
not
right?
fucking
So
safe.
part of it, but no,
Between me and Tim is very safe.
but I think, in all honesty, the conversations that you have, honestly, and you probably know, you don't have this with a lot of different people. It's just typical, you talk about football, talk about girls, and there's not that. And I think it's important, especially for men, because I think the level of articulation of your feelings is so important, because your feelings matter. And like Frank said, a lot of black men are killing themselves because they're not speaking out, they're not being open. So I would say the biggest thing I would say is to speak out. It does start with people around you. And if you can't find a safe space, definitely seek out help and therapy. That would be what I would definitely recommend. It might be like, oh, what's the point? But let me say, look, if you haven't dealt with your issues now, you ain't going to deal with it. And the last thing I would say is, if you're in the picture, you can't see the frame. I just love that quote. Right? If you're in the picture, you can't see the frame. The reality is there's blind spots. We can all drive here, right?
What?
If you know how it is to look left, to look right, look at all your mirrors, and a cyclist still comes, and you think, how did you just come?
Yeah.
I looked everywhere. That's life. You cannot analyze yourself on your own. There's no amount of analysis that you can do to see every area of your life, right? You need a mirror to be held up so that it can show you, like, right, I didn't know I had that black spot right there. So that's what I would say.
Yeah.
So just so that we have that on mic, so if I wanted to start therapy, where do I go? What website can I find a therapist? Who do I call? Like, what's the process?
Gumtree.
Aye.
That's what you
Catch your
say.
brethren.
That is funny. You actually can find a therapist on country.
Bruv, don't trust no gum tree.
Welcome to No yard gone, bro.
I love it. I love it.
Hey, she's gonna come true.
Exactly, bro.
Hey, she's gonna be a therapist.
Oh, that is so
Yeah.
funny.
They'll put your info on Twitter. You know,
Bro.
you're like, this looks very
Man, say, I
familiar.
take cash only, bro. Cash only therapist.
Cash or crypto.
And then we do sometimes take cash only, but now you can do bank transfer. So I will first say, before I talk about my service, I would first say, look, if you are struggling financially, the NHS does provide free therapy. Although there's a waiting list, so every local borough, you can access what we call talking therapy on the NHS.
Sorry, are they good? So like, are they levels of like? I'm not trying to take them.
Levels is free, innit?
Like, are they?
They're trained therapists on the
Yeah,
NHS.
but I know. But it's like saying I'm a footballer. I'm a professional footballer.
Oh, yeah,
But there's
they're
levels to it. Do you know what I mean?
They're highly professional. Yeah. The issue with NHS therapy, like anything, is there are more people wanting it than they can supply.
Fair enough.
Right? So you wait a long time, and it's also short term, 6 sessions, 12 sessions. That's not enough. That's just scratching the surface. When you start therapy, you see 12 sessions, you're just getting in there.
Yeah.
Oh, end now. That's it. That's the last session. Is that it? Mate, I was just getting to tell you my name. What's going on? Because 15 minutes in session will go quick.
Is it
Look at how
15
quick
minute
it's
session,
gone. 15-minute session. It'll go quick. 50.
Oh.
Look at how this went quick. I know it's obviously a chit-chatting, but it will go quick. So I will start there, you know. If you can afford a therapist, Barton, so that's Black and African and Asian therapist. If you can afford 50, 60, 70 pounds per session,
We'll put the website.
you can have a qualified therapist.
Well.
And then frontline therapist is where you can have an affordable, accessible service. And that's my service that have counselors that you can
Sorry,
come
say
to.
that again.
Frontline therapist.
Frontline therapist.
Right? And however, this is a good trick. Write low cost counseling in Google. As long as you're not doing a VPN, it will come up in your area and you can see the local services in your area that also are quite affordable. Again, it may not be culturally sensitive, so you may not get a therapist that looks like you, but if you're okay with that, you can get a therapist for maybe a very, very good price. But again, there usually is a time limit. So the reality is for any long-term therapist relationship you want to build, you would have to fork out money. But there are other options if you can't afford it in the meantime, or you're struggling financially. So you can go to NHS, go to my service. There's local services around mine. There's a lot of services in the UK, but it does depend on where you live as well.
Just wait for the January sales, innit? Get a good discount, bruv.
Yeah, no, some therapists do packages as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And some therapists do what they call discounted rates. If you have, you know, they offer a few concessional rates. So if you got a situation you think that I'm a student, or you're part-time, or you're on low income, sometimes they will consider doing at a lower rate for you.
Guys, I think we've run over a bit, so you might have to keep Hoil of the week for.
No, man, I'm saying it.
Okay, go on. What's your Hoil of the
Hoil
week?
Cool,
I'll start.
Weeks and you feel like you just changed
Trust
the
me,
rules.
bro. Go back to America, bro. Cool.
Welcome to Miami.
Sorry.
My Hoil of the week is Mayowa, my daughter.
Oh,
Come on.
Come on.
My babes.
How old is she?
She's gonna be free on Friday.
Oh,
Come
wow.
on. Hi.
Yeah, man.
Daddy's twins.
Are we allowed to put her picture up? Or
Yeah.
Nah, man.
what do you mean? Are you there, father? What the hell?
Yeah, go on. You kind of one of me and her still. You can do it.
Okay,
Still.
okay,
This guy knows what he did. This guy knows what he did. Let's go home. Let's go play clubs, bro. Real talk.
No, but yeah, she's gonna be free on Friday.
Come on.
If you watch this when you're older, Daddy loves you. Innit?
What about you, Wale? What's your Hoil of the week?
Damn, my Hoil of the week, yeah. My cousins came last week. My cousins came down from America. I ain't seen them in a while, and it just made me appreciate, you know, life and family experiences, you know, that kind of stuff. They're my younger cousins, innit? So it's, you know, I mean, just had to look after them and that. So it was nice to just see them. Yeah, I took them out through London, went to Chinatown.
They love seeing that when they come
watch
over.
a theatre. Yeah, man, they
Yeah.
loved it. So I went shopping, got loads of stuff to eat.
What
and
did you
that.
watch? Theater?
Went to the Bob Marley one, you know.
Well, it was it good?
Yeah, it was good. Man.
I wanna
It was
watch
good,
that,
it was
yeah.
good. So
Man, go theatre and that.
yeah, trust me. So, yeah, man, literally just, you know, chilling with the family, and
Thanksgiving.
you
innit?
appreciate, Thanksgiving, that's why
Yeah.
they came down, innit? We had a Thanksgiving munch as well, which was lit. But yeah, you just appreciate life, man, you know, appreciate your friends and your family who's really around you. Because, you know, life is short, bruv, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why every other day I always say it, like, we actually went through a pandemic, like, we survived.
2-3
People
years,
died,
yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. It was very
Yeah,
good.
man, but yeah, man, that's my holiday of the week, you get me?
Frank, FL.
My Hoil of the week is, it sounds crazy, innit? But it's 001 and Chi. Yeah. David and Chi, innit?
Okay.
Yeah, man. God will give you strength.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on.
You will overcome, you know.
Yeah, man.
You know, what you guys have gone through, you don't praise for anybody, but
Honestly.
Yeah, man.
God will bring you guys through. You know, I love you. I love you dearly. The world loves you, you know. So God will be your anchor. He will be your strength.
Amen.
You know,
Amen.
everything will come back around, my boy.
Amen.
You know, so
Amen.
Amen.
yeah, man. That's it for me.
My Hoil of the week is actually this episode.
These Americans, bro. Hey, I'll get these guys from, bro.
you recover safely. But I genuinely feel like this episode is gonna help so many people. Sometimes you think about things, and like you said, you weren't even meant to be here, and you're here. So I think it's gonna help a lot of people see things very differently. So I'm looking forward to everyone watching this episode. But don't forget to comment.
What's the Hoil of the week?
Oh shoot.
Bro, hey, you're not hosting this
I
thing.
told you I'm
again.
rusty, man. I'm rusty.
Bomber class.
So
Like
basically,
something that you're happy about, or
yeah,
the week.
Oh, okay.
What's
Happened
putting
in
in
the
a
last
good
7
mood?
years.
wow.
oh, okay.
I told you, stop letting me host.
Put you in a good mood.
anything.
Yeah. Okay, I've got one.
Go on.
So my Hoil is a Hoil of the week, yeah.
Hoil.
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 My Hoil of the week is I am doing a TED Talk next year.
Ooh. Hoil.
Do you have a sound?
That's dope. On mental health.
Well, it's actually going to be on black women leaders not being represented at leadership level. And
Black
how we
women
can
leaders?
overcome. Yeah, black women leaders.
And
That's
another
what my doctorate.
conversation, boy.
Yeah, that's what my doctorate's about. So it's going to be on
Oh, snap.
essentially.
You're doing a PhD?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Sick.
You're not
So
a joke, you.
so that's what it's going to be about how we can essentially overcome and get into positions to influence decision making. That's where power is.
Come on.
That's
where power
that's
is.
an
That's
amazing
amazing.
way
Thank
to.
Where's that going to be in London?
Yeah, it's going to be London. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Please send us an invite so that we can see if we can attend.
Yeah, I'm waiting. Once she said once
Is it a
it's finished.
ticket thing? We have to buy tickets and that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's.
Guy wants freebies, man. Oh,
No. I'm just
why am I moving
asking.
tight? We're gonna pay
Yeah.
for the tickets, bro.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if
There's
it's
my money
us.
as well.
I asked.
Huh?
Where's my money? You owe me money, bro.
Or £1.50.
Nah, you know something.
I don't know what you got.
You know
I owe
something.
£15.
You owe me £50.
Oh, come on.
I'm gonna move like
Where
my
you
man.
from?
What's them two them
Hey,
little
what?
youths?
What, no country?
What's
Nigeria.
that little
What
youths?
side?
Yoruba.
On TikTok,
Oh.
bro.
Oh, Moses and
I'm gonna move like
Oh.
my man.
I was going to say.
Go. I'll draw you out.
That guy
I'll
that talks
expose
like-
you.
That's
if
the guy
you
that
don't give
talks
money.
like-
Me, I will expose you.
I'll expose you as well.
I'll expose you. Let's go.
Aye. H, wrap it up. Bro.
No, but don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Come on.
Thank you for
Make sure you subscribe,
watching
man.
us. Yeah, subscribe, man. Come
We
on.
need 3K subs by the end of the year.
Yeah, we do still.
Okay.
All right, boys. Hoil.
Hi.